Okay, so I guess, let me just go through. Okay, back to your religion battle royale. In the last video we had Eastern Orthodoxy getting, what's it called? Being and the capital Moscow, which I don't care that it's like here. I accidentally said it was here, and I'm gonna keep it that way. So, yeah, now it's about at the same altitude as St. Petersburg. Deal with it. Anyway, the capital Moscow was put under international zone, and Protestantism also lost to Germany, and their mainland European holds fun. So they're not happy about that, and they also hate Islam, and Islam hates Catholicism. Everyone hates each other, basically. But what Christians really hate is Islam. So what happens is a very confusing thing. We have kind of a triangle effect going on. We have Protestantism and Islam both hating Catholicism. So they both officially they are teamed up, and officially they team up to defeat Catholicism. So that is their official, that's the official war that's happening. However, Protestantism and Catholicism both hate Islam. So what they do is, Catholicism is gonna, quote, let Protestantism invade much of this area, which would allow for it to be more powerful than Islam, because at the moment it's pretty weak. While the Catholics mostly defend their border with the Muslims. So it's kind of weird relations going on here, but we have the official war being Protestantism versus Islam, but with Protestantism and Catholicism having a little, they like each other still, despite technically being at war. So immediately what happens is, to make it not seem suspicious, both sides look for an encirclement campaign, which goes very well, as Protestantism is able to cut them off near the border with Belarus, leaving a massive force surrounded, and eventually the red team manages to capture all the surrounding area around Moscow, which, once again, geography is a bit strange, but the Protestants and the Muslims basically agree to split this area up, with the Muslims gaining a bunch of this area in the south, Protestants getting north. So now, with that front dealt with, we have the actual front. So remember, this is guarded, this is lightly guarded. So we have, first off, a very quick Protestant invasion into Estonia, cutting them off at Narva, which is a place in Estonia, and quickly capturing the Estonian capital of Tallinn. Due to the fact that this is Protestant, they are viewed as liberators. Same thing happens in Latvia. This is whatever, and St. Petersburg is swear to God, St. Petersburg is put under siege. Oh my God. Anyway, St. Petersburg is put under siege by the Protestants. Meanwhile, an Islamic breakthrough happens, and they're able to push along the river, the Dniester River, and even into and up to the Carpathians. So Romania falls, and the rest of the front line's pretty well defended along rivers. So now we have a Protestants ganging up with rebel groups in Belarus and Lithuania and Kaliningrad, mostly Orthodox rebel groups, and a landing is even made in Jutland, they're made in this area. No, Jutland's the peninsula. Landings are made in Denmark, and the country falls, leaving Protestantism basically back to its former glory, just accept what it once had with, sorry, that was just to clean it up, accept what it once had with the, Germany, which is kind of a big deal. Also, once again, these are kind of like letting them getting taken over. And now Muslims are starting to catch on as they realize their front line isn't moving and is much more heavily defended. So they start getting really mad and like, wait a minute, I want some land. So the Protestants console their quote allies, and the Catholics, and they, by the way, I'm just doing some unimportant things. And they basically say, okay, fine, we'll allow the Muslims to take back the Balkans. So, they agree to kind of give up their forces here, and the entire Balkan region actually falls. Whether it is realistic or not doesn't affect me. And now we have kind of an interesting situation. We have a Muslim siege and conquering of Vienna and the rest of Austria, and a Protestant conquering of Czechia, leaving Slovakia surrounded, and with surrounded Slovakia, the country is split. Yeah, that was not somewhat interesting, but whatever. The Muslims do manage to gain most of the population, which does live in the south of the country, in Bratislava and Košice. I don't know. Whatever. So now a united front is being established, and it's here where we see the Muslims make a landing in Spain. Using rebel groups, they captured the southern regions of the Iberian Peninsula, mainly Andalusia, and I guess parts of southern Portugal. However, they are stopped due to it being very mountainous. What isn't stopped, though, is due to the fact that the Muslims are here in the south, they actually can't advance any further due to the Alps mountains. What can advance, though, is the northern force of the the Protestants, who, I guess, liberate this area. However, it's mostly Catholic, so they conquer Bavaria and reach the Rhine River. Munich falls, and a dual invasion begins. This is without consulting their, quote, allies, who are the, this is without telling the Catholics about their plans to liberate this area, so their relations, they have officially cut off. They are no longer allies, however, they still, technically support each other. No, they don't support each other. By the way, St. Petersburg fell long ago. They don't support each other. They're still, Protestantism and Catholicism have broken off, and now Protestantism is an ally of Islam, which allows for this region to fall. This region falls easily, and so does this whole area. It's very flat up here. So there you go. Protestantism is back in town. What's also back in town is the Muslim expansion into Spain, and they've now reached the borders of France. These islands are captured. They were under Muslim control for a while, and even Sardinia and Corsica fall, and Sicily. So yeah, that is not good for Muslims, for Catholics. They have no allies left, and everyone hates them. So what happens, due to the fact that the Christians, or the Protestants, have captured Belgium, they have no mountains in the way, the Muslims have a tiny little corridor through Austria into Switzerland that allows for them to bypass the mountains. However, it's very hard to use, so they don't. The Protestants, or the Catholics, desperately try to defend France. However, a combined, a Protestant invasion into the north of the country takes over that part. while in the south, which then meets up with the Swiss front, Switzerland, both sides agree, not both sides, the Muslims take Switzerland, and eventually southern France falls to a Muslim invasion into the country. And now the Protestants are mad that they were just cut off from Italy. So what do? Actually, they weren't cut off from Italy yet. Surprise, Muslims invade without consulting the Protestants, and now they cut them off from Italy. They purposely left a bit of this area down south. We're just gonna give this near Nice and even Marseille. This area is under Protestant control. However, without consulting their Protestant allies, the Muslims go ahead invading Italy, cutting them off, and this basically angers the Protestants. However, Catholicism falls, and now we're down to two sides. By the way, the city of Moscow was moved, first of all. So, yep. City of Moscow was moved to there, and now it's under Protestant control. So that also angers the Muslims. However, the Protestants have fortified it very well, and we effectively now see a North versus South war, with one large front. This is probably somewhat even, as much of Europe's population lives in this area, which is pretty under red control. I guess this area is also rather under red control. However, this area is very strong, so who knows what we'll have to see. Do I want to do this now? Let's see. Do I do this now? We'll do part of it. So, a surprise invasion. The red team is gonna attack first here, pushing the Muslims back to the Pyrenees Mountains, and they push the Muslims back to the Pyrenees. However, that's about all the expanding they're able to do. Up here in northern Siberia, due to just, quote, capturing this region, they're able to conquer much of this area, which is surprisingly inhabited, but it's still not useful. You know what, that's where I'm gonna end this. Part 3 soon.